All right. I have 2 cups here. We are doing the Nuka Quantum Cup and the Fusion one. The Fusion one is yellow leather. I had a request for these to see a tutorial on them, on how I made them. So it was actually for 3, the victory one, but I'm going to do it in another video with one of the other cups. And at the end of this, I will show you the collection of all the cups. So I'm going to focus the camera on one at a time, so that way you can really see. I did prep this one in a video of showing how to prep. It will be on the channel as well, just showing how to prep cups instead of wasting the time in this video to do that. This one was spray painted because I need a nice smooth surface, and I'll explain that. And then this one I just I painted. I went ahead and mixed my epoxy. If you're needing a tutorial on how to mix epoxy and actually get started with all this, please comment in the comments below so that way I know that that's something that people want to see. I know there's lots of videos out there, so I don't want to make a bunch of repeat type of tutorial videos that you've already seen. So we're going to start with the Nuka Quantum one because I don't need as much epoxy for what I'm doing on this first step. These do take several steps, so you'll see it throughout. Right now what I'm doing is I am putting on a very thin layer of epoxy, and I'm using it as my adhesive for the glitter. I do put glitter on this cup, but it is a pearlescent one, so it's not so much glittery, but it's not flat matte either. But because it's also a neon, I have a hard time finding it sometimes. There was a company I used to use for it, but they don't sell it anymore, so I had to dig around to find a new one. Normally, I have been going to Glitter Chimp for my glitters because they have such a huge variety. They have neon stuff there. It just wasn't quite what I was looking for to continue replicating this cup. But I did find a company, and I will have all my supplies and where I get them linked in the description below. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just running my finger over it, seeing if I find spots I've missed, because now I've gone up and down the whole thing. And you probably see these spots like this where it's just not painted as well. That doesn't matter on this particular cup. So if your coverage is thin for your paint, or it just isn't pretty, for this cup it does not matter so much. There are some that do matter because the glow-in-the-dark mica powder, if you use it by itself, it's actually kind of see-through, so you have to do stuff to it so that way it glows like my cups glowed in the short, but then solid, so you can't see the base underneath it. Okay, that is nice and covered. I had made 20 milliliters for these 2 cups because I don't need a lot on this part, and we're just putting down base coverage. So now what I'm going to do with this one really quick is I'm gonna lay down just a sheet of paper, scrap paper underneath it. Oops. And the replacement I found that works really well is Pineapple Glitters Blue Neon Matte Fine. It is a matte, but it kind of has a pearly look to it, similar to what I used to use. And let me see if I can grab it really quick. I don't know if it's in here. Anyways, the one I used to use was Wizard from the name's not coming to me. Now I'm determined to find it, so you probably can't hear me. Little ones. Ah, here it is. I actually still have some of it. It's Wicked Shimmer Supply, and it is a neon pearl, and it's called Wizard. If they still have this one, definitely go for it. This one is really close to it. It just has a little bit less pearl shimmer to it because it's a matte. I'll show you like this. But I didn't want this cup to be super glittery. It's not the purpose behind it. So they are very, very similar. So anyways, I'm going to use this one today for it. And I'm just going to let it fall. And it's going to land on that paper nicely. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry, and then I will come back to you guys and do the next step, which will be the glow-in-the-dark powder. Oop, missed a spot. I'll have to see if it comes back around as a missed spot or not. Oh, no, that looks like it covered it. So I just missed glittering it. So if you're using regular epoxy, you have plenty of time to get this covered. If you're using speed dry, you've got to be kind of quick on doing this to make sure that you get your coverage and everything before it starts. If you're doing multiple cups, before it starts to dry. Now I do the bottom too, so what I'm doing right now is I'm pouring all that glitter back into the bottle so I have plenty to throw like this. And I don't necessarily care if that part's perfect because, like I said, I'm going to come back and do another round over it with the glow-in-the-dark powder, which I'll show you what it looks like in just a second. You'll see it again when I get to that step. Alright, so that one's done, and now we're going to move on to the Fusion. So it has a yellow base, as you see, and it's spinning too. It has a yellow base because it's yellow, and I want to make sure that that yellow is really seen. So I have what's left of the epoxy that I mixed, and I'm going to use Bolt from Glitter Chimp. It's actually just a neon mica powder. It's not the glow-in-the-dark stuff. I have some glow-in-the-dark stuff right there, which Glitter Chimp carries some, and their glow-in-the-dark powder works really well. I just happened to run out and need more in a hurry, so I Amazon a company's glow-in-the-dark powder that I know works well. And you want it, when you're doing these cups, you want your glow-in-the-dark powder to be the color you need it to be when you're putting it down, because it will pigment the epoxy some. So that's what that looks like. And I'm just gonna, you gotta use a decent amount. Like, I don't measure it, I just kind of glop it in, but you don't want to go light on your glow powder because you really need it in there to make that bright glow. Once I have all my powder in there, I'm just going to stir. And using that bright yellow with the glow-in-the-dark yellow is going to make all this a nice, thick, opaque yellow to go on the cup. So that way, it's not glittered and it has a yellow base, so it'll look just great. And it gives it just a different, slightly different look than the Quantum Cup. So I'm just stirring it in. There's no, like, you don't have to do it for a long time, just enough to get it mixed in real nice. And so I'm gonna change the direction of that spinner quick because I am left-handed. And then it just goes on real nice like this. These are really easy cups to do. I love working with the glow-in-the-dark because it gives it another aspect to a cup. There are glow-in-the-dark glitters out there. I like them, but a lot of them are very light in pigmentation. So when you're going for something like this and you need to be super bright, having them underneath the glow-in-the-dark powder is great for an extra layer. But like what I did with the Nuka Cola, except that's not glow-in-the-dark powder or glow-in-the-dark glitter. Oh, may not have made enough. When you're putting on that first layer, you don't typically need a lot, but you need more when you're adding stuff to the epoxy. You put it on. And having streaks in this is completely okay, like those lines of where my fingers moved it, because what's going to happen with that is it's going to just kind of give it a nice liquid flow to make it look like you have a drink, and it's that Nuka fusion and it's moving around. We almost got coverage done. Gonna keep going with this. So if the only thing I don't have is the bottom, which it looks like I'm not gonna have enough to cover the bottom, that's okay, because what I'll do is I'll just make a tiny batch to do the bottom with. And I am using speed dry right now, so it's already starting to be like, hey, I don't want to work with you anymore. So getting this last little bit out of the container is a struggle. Also, what I'm going to do with this particular cup is I'm going to test it, and I'll take you with me to test it to see how well it glows, or if I need to add a second layer to it of this before I move on, because I didn't add any glitter or anything. So right now this is a very thin layer of epoxy on this cup, so I can add a couple layers and I'll be fine. So before I take a pause and come back, I'm going to show you. So Glitter Chimp, glow in the dark, glow powder. They write what it is, blue to blue. That's super handy, and one of the reasons I like theirs is because I know exactly what I'm getting, what color it's going to look like going into the epoxy, what color it's going to look like on the cup. For them, I have 10% off coupon in the description for with the supplies. So again, here is the Fusion and the Nuka Quantum. And while we're waiting for those to dry, I'm going to take a moment and show you guys all the others that I have made. Okay, there they are. Some of them have their lids on, some don't. Honestly, my husband keeps them up on his desk, so they're kind of dusty. But here are the 3 that started the video. If you haven't seen the short that had these 3 in it, all 3 of these are glow in the dark. So that's the Nuka Fusion, which is on the spinner right now, and the Nuka Quantum. Here is the Nuka Victory. And then I did the quartz Nuka-Cola. I think it's quartz. Anyways, this one also glows in the dark. But because of the image that I see of this cup, I wanted to kind of replicate as much as possible. I don't even know if this one's been in light enough to get glow in the dark, but let's check it out quick. Does not look like it. No. That one will be in a short though. Sorry about that. Okay, so then you have Nuka Grape. So this one's very more pale, plain, easy to go. And here's the orange. I gave it kind of a dirty look. This one's also been, was given a matte look to make it really flat. You have Nuka Clear. Nuka Wild. Regular Nuka-Cola. So, this right here is dust. So let me wipe it off quick. Because if you look, you can see I did give it some texture looking of soda throughout. It needs cleaned. Then you have Nuka Cherry. Again, it's just a flat, plain, simple. Nuka Dark. And then Nuka Boost. Gave it a look of coffee. So when those get dry that are on the spinner right now, I will come back and we'll work on the next part. Okay, we are back. This one is looking good. And this one looks good too. I'm going to take this and see how much it lights up and let you check that out to see what I determine. Okay, it's not even fully dark in here and it is definitely shining bright, so I could keep going with this at the next step if I choose to. Looking at it right now, it looks like a nice yellow, and yeah, it has, you know, the lines and stuff, but like I said, I want that kind of look. So the only thing that I'm seeing that's kind of annoying is some little flecks of glitter that snuck into it, which happens sometimes. So you definitely want to make sure your area is super clean when you're doing this. So for this one, I'm just going to put it aside, and that's not going to be the focus for the next part of this video, because the next part that I would do on this would be to put the image around it and then seal it. But what I'm probably going to do is go through and pull out some of this really noticeable glitter and give it another layer and then do that. But you've already seen how to do the glow layer. So this one I'm just going to put aside for now, and we will focus on the Quantum Cup because how you put the labels on is the same. Okay, so let's see here. I have the Glitter Chimp Orion Blue to Blue Glow Powder. I have 20 milliliters stirred of epoxy and this cup spinning. This is the next step to making the Quantum Nuka-Cola cup, because we have the baseline look right here with the glitter, which again, links are in the description. I have us put where you can see me. So again, we're going to apply this just like we did before with the Fusion, but this time we're doing glue. And this time you get to see it go on top of glitter. And once this dries, I will move on to the next step. You will not see me sizing the pictures. I will just show you how I apply them onto the cups. I can do a separate tutorial showing sizing images for cups, etc. If there's interest for that. If there is, just leave me a message in the comments so I know to make that a priority. So I don't have a ton left, but I do have plenty for this cup and probably one more. Like I said before, you got to use a lot with this to really get that color to pop. No matter what brand you're using, you've got to use a lot of powder because it's got to get nice and thick and through, all mixed in well and thoroughly, so it leaves a good coat on there. Now the difference with this is I am not using a mica powder color with the glow in the dark powder to darken the epoxy. It gets to like the perfect shade right there. And because I have this pearlescent matte glitter on the base of the cup, I'm gonna get the look I'm shooting for between the two. So now that it's nice and mixed, I'm gonna take that out. Again, I'm using speed dry epoxy, so it can't wiggle around as much as long on the cup. And also it means I do have to work a little bit faster. What that means for this is it lets me get the tutorial done quicker, and it just so happens that's the only epoxy I have on hand at the moment. And if you have any questions, comments, things you want to see, I'm going to just plug that in right now. Leave it in the comments so I know what videos to make next. Also, if you're enjoying this, want to see me make the rest of the Fallout cups, or if there's a Fallout cup I didn't make that you want to see, like and subscribe and let me know so that way I can add that to the queue. So I know some of them are very simple looking and some are a little bit more complex. Now I've already put that 20 milliliters onto this cup, minus, a few crumbs here and there. So that's because the glitter likes to eat it. So now what I'm doing is I'm kind of moving it around, and because I want to get nice full coverage. And I did just see this spot that's showing. I'm going to put glitter, I'm going to put the epoxy on it right now and cover it so it has coverage, so I can like tap some glitter on that and it will get sealed with the rest. Do I have enough for the bottom? No, I don't. Normally 20 milliliters is just fine for this. But I'm doing a nice flood coat on it, which it needed apparently. and it is just soaking it all up. Really right now what I'm doing is trying to find the little bit of extra that I have here and there so I can slide it onto the bottom so the bottom glows blue too. But otherwise I want to leave all of it where it is so it has that nice glowed look spread throughout. So now I'm going to take off my glove because it'll be easier to work with. And put this under there and grab the glitter. And I'm going to make sure I leave the lid on and use the sprinkle side so I'm getting as minimal as I need on the cup so it's not taking over where it should be glowing because I'm just trying to cover up. Hey, you guys see my face in this part. So we're doing the last part of the tutorial for the Nuka Quantum and Fusion cups. So I just printed off the label and I did two because I have a file saved in my Google Drive with the image that I particularly use. And I have them slightly sized different. I have one more size for a 30 ounce and one for a 20 ounce. Now, how I did that was I measured the cups, but I will give you guys the measurements I have on here. For the paper you're going to use, this is here. This is just a printable vinyl by Silhouette because that's what the craft store local to me had when I was out and I didn't have time to go Amazon where I normally get, which isn't a big deal. So you can use printable vinyl or sticker paper. It doesn't really matter too much. I've used both and both work wonderfully. Really, the ticket is making sure you have them printed to a size that you're covering the amount of the cup that you're wanting. So like if you want to have a gap, you can, but you don't have to. And the reason I'm telling you this now is so, let's see, let me grab one of these. This one and pretty much all of these that I did for my husband, the 30 ounces, there is a slight gap here. They're bigger cups, so going around it's going to cause that depending on which label you're doing. So also these handles are kind of handy because if you get slightly off, so you're not getting it completely straight around the cup, the handle will hide that. And so the cups that I'm making right now for this tutorial don't have handles, so it's very much a, we'll see what happens. Now, not all the labels go all the way around the cups, so length size doesn't matter quite as much. At that point, you do it as much as you want. It depends on what labels you get. Because I didn't make these labels, I'm not offering them in a Google Drive because they're not my work. I will, however, put in the description what you need to search in any search engine you use to get them to come up. And I'll show you with the Google search in a second on what that's going to look like. Okay, so let's look at these real quick. So I'm going to turn the camera. So we have the two on here. That one. Dogs were going nuts for a cat outside. So the small one, which fits great on a 20 ounce. Here is your height and your width. So the width is going all the way around it. Your height is how tall it stands on it. That's why it's those dimensions. Now if I click on the other one, let's see, yeah. Here is the length on those. Now this is completely based on what I've used thus far that works. This one they will quite possibly give you a little bit of extra. That way you can cut so you can have it completely touch if you don't have a handle. So now, let's see if this is the right one. Yes. So in my search, I put Nuka Cola labels. It will literally pop up everything you need. There are Vim ones too, so if you prefer the Vim drinks in Fallout, those are also available. And like I said, there's a little bit of everything. There's different styles. I went with a lot of the round ones on my cups because they're round in the game. So I was going for as realistic as I could get. Most of these are free, which is why I'm showing it to you, because some are paid for, some are free. People have done different things with them. A lot of them, as you can see, are curved to go around an actual glass bottle or a plastic soda bottle, so it's not going to work as well on these cups. So you want to find one that's straight. Again here. But a lot of these are designed for people having Fallout themed birthday parties. So you're going to find plenty. It's just a matter of which one you like, and going with that one. But because of that, because there's so many out there and there's so many different styles, depending on how you want your cup to look, I'm telling you, this is the way to do it, is just find one of those free images that were made for people to utilize and enjoy. I showed this cup through this video too, the quartz. It also glows in the dark. And then make them to however you want, because these are us just showing that we really like. Ooh, this one is really good. I wish I would have had that one when I made the cup. I might have to make another one. So that's how you get it. Simply put Nuka Cola labels in the search. You can even put Fallout Nuka Cola labels in the search and you will get it too. And then you'll have all kinds of different things up here, options to look at too, for it to help you. So with that will also be down in the descriptions, along with where you can get all the different supplies I've used, and supplies you've seen in the video. So let's go get that label put on, and that'll be it. Okay, we are to the fun part. I'm going to show you how well this is glowing in the dark, because you've seen it get made. I haven't done anything to it since that last spin where I was putting the glow in the dark stuff on, and you can tell too, because right here's where I covered up that spot, and that's going to be nice and smooth once I put on the last layer of epoxy over the label. So we're going to come in here where it's dark. This hasn't been like sitting on purpose in light. It's just been sitting in general rooms where lights come through. So it has a really great glow. And I have the label made, cut, and ready to go. So we're going to get that going here quick. Okay, so again, doesn't matter if you used printable vinyl or sticker paper. It just matters that you have something that you can print this on that has an adhesive backing and isn't clear, so that way it really gets on there good. The advantage to using printable vinyl is you know that it's going to be really thick, so it's not going to rip if you have to pull it up off the cup to reposition it. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you're doing this like me, I would highly recommend you have those little cushions or a pair of pool noodles to sit this on so it doesn't move. I don't have any prepped for, I don't know why I haven't bothered, but I just don't. I even have pool noodles outside with the pool, but so I am going to make it as straight as I can and slide it down. Feel like I got, yeah, I did. Something stuck under there. So, and then I'm going to leave the backing on it and slide it off as I go. But I'm kind of looking at it right now and it looks kind of crooked, so I'm going to lift it up. And if you have to do this a couple of times, understand doing that, it will cause some of the ink to come off your image. But because these are what they are, I'm okay with that because it gives it a nice worn look. So what I'm doing right now, is I'm just pulling off a little bit of the backing at a time and then smoothing it out. And then I'm hoping I got it on there straight so it lines up nicely on the back side. Sorry, I keep rolling out of the camera view. Okay, so right now I can tell that this is going to land a ways off of that. So what I'm going to have to do is pull it up. It looks like right about. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lay it out this time and line it up like this so I can see where I need to position it. The answer is right there. Okay, so as long as I keep it straight going across now, I should be good. This printable vinyl, because it's thicker, doesn't look like it's taking the beating from me ripping it up as bad. The sticker papers tend to be thinner, so they are more likely to have issues with someone pulling them up constantly like this to get it lined up. Okay, so that's really close. I do have a slight bubble right here from doing that, and I don't want to lift it up and get it off kilter. So I'm just going to slowly slide my fingers over it. You might get a couple of creases like this. If that happens, you might have to put 2 layers over it, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. I've had it happen before, and at the end of the day, I just put 2 layers if I need to of epoxy over it. And again, it just kind of gives it that worn look. Okay, so we are here with the last spin on this cup, and oops, this one. I did get the label on there. I just did it off camera because it's the same process that I showed you in the video. These two are ready for their final spin, and really all that's going to amount to is I'm going to put on the epoxy like you've already seen me do several times now. It should only take 1 layer. Like I had mentioned, if you have a crease in the label, if you didn't get on there completely smooth, that's fine, but it may take you 2 coats to get it done, vice 1. If you liked this video, want to see some more, maybe a little bit more detailed where it's not, I don't feel rushed to make them, please let me know. Like and subscribe, that way you can get those videos notifications, because I do plan on making more. But this one I wanted to get done as quickly as possible, so because I got a request for it. And going through the step-by-step process of this takes a little bit more time because they're cups. And so I didn't know how long it would take me to make this video, and now I do. But I would love to make you guys some more videos. Just let me know in the comments if you have any questions about anything I did, if I didn't specify something well enough or I forgot to mention it because I got squirrely. Just ask away and I will answer all of those questions. I will make at least 1 more tutorial video on the Fallout cups. I will make ones for all of them if there's a request for that. But what I'll be doing is pairing them up in 2s and 3s like I did with this video, just so that way I can focus on a couple cups at once and give them my attention, since these videos can get long fast. And with that, I will let you guys go. Again, all the links for things that have to do with this video are in the description. Some of it links may be links that actually support the channel, meaning they're like affiliate links. So if you purchase off those links, I will get something from them, which thank you, thank you, thank you if you do. Those let me make more videos like this and be creative and make unique things to share with you guys. And that will be it. You're about to see in picture of these two finished and standing pretty with straws and lids.